Greetings in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, our King, our High Priest, Kohan forever, according to the order of Melchizedek, and our Loa Yahuwah. All honor and glory unto Yahuwah Kodesh name. My name is MELEK Shelomoh. This is MELEK Shelomoh Trading, and I'm gonna do a little recap here on two trades that I avoided taking today. Right, so these were two setups, so I'm going to start here at the most recent setup. So this is a potential bowling green strategy, right? So what we're having here is we have the level, which is Camarilla S3 and central pivot around the same level that's creating a golden pivot zone. We have passive orders stacking on the bid, right? We have iceberg buyers coming in here. We have a small accumulation, not really too much of an accumulation between -1 VWAP and -2 VWAP. That's that dash yellow line right there. So this is -1, the first lower deviation, right? This is anchored from the RTA session open. So this is the first lower VWAP deviation, right? This is the second lower deviation, and we have a quick accumulation here before it actually takes off, right? So it being around just 30 minutes before the close, I opted to not take this trade, right? Because we were grinding down, coming down to this level, but I don't think it really has enough time for me to take this trade. Now here could be like a potential entry. I could take a potential entry here. And even though I could take these entries, these it's still a little risky because we haven't come down to Camarilla S3 as yet, right? So we're getting buys just above that level. So I'm not actually getting the exact touch of Camarilla S3, or I'm not getting these fills right here of this liquidity, right? So even though this liquidity is providing support, the setup is kind of there, but not exactly, and the time of day is a little more risky, right? So what we have here is nice volume we have selling volume with no follow through. That's another indication of like a potential setup for the bowling green strategy. All of this is basically kind of like accumulation for the run up to the upside, right? So if we have heavy volume and we have the direction to the downside, if we're not getting follow through, that means that someone is buying within this sell off here. And as you can see, they accumulated and pushed up from there, right? You see the volume is increasing as we push back up, right? So basically, they're kind of pushing back up into the mean area, which is CS1, Camarilla S1, Camarilla S2. So we're not really breaking out of anywhere. We're just going back into the mean. So that's another reason I don't really want to take this trade, because this is happening just at the close of the session, and we're not really getting chance to break through the mean area of the Camarillas, Camarilla R1, R2 further up. So the potential to come back in here and just kind of short out at VWAP is kind of high, right? So if I took like an entry here at what, 60, 90, 50 to get to VWAP, that's roughly 7.6.5 points. So that's decent, but just the whole setup and time of day is not really conducive to a high probability outcome. Now, for it to go higher, it's looking like it's bidding up on the bid. That's good. That'll push price higher. Once these guys start pulling off the offer, that should have price push up, right? So we could see price probably, let's say in the next 15 minutes, we could close around, I would say, yesterday's high. I think that's yesterday's high right there. I would have to open this up a little more for this to show, but I believe that's yesterday's high, and we could probably close above yesterday's high just with this little push up right here, right? And we see they're bidding up on the bid, right? So what has to happen here is either these guys, the buyers, push through these offers, or these offers start pulling. So what I'm seeing here is maybe they're kind of getting filled, or they're pressing down on price. So that could, as you see, price is pushing back down there. So let me just open this a little bit. Right, so you can see the liquidity is pulling on the offer a little bit, but they're still staying in the book. They're coming back in the book as price pushes down. We have some iceberg buyers. We have heavy volume going into these push-ups right here, but they're not pushing through as yet. Right, so we have heavy volume in this bar right here, heavy selling volume, but we didn't get any follow through. So that's looking like iceberg buyers are stepping in, supporting price, but they have to push through aggressively through these offers because these offers aren't really moving. They're actually getting a little heavier, right? So the iceberg is stepping up, and now we have to get those market orders to push through this level. So that was a potential bowling green that I didn't take, right? So let's go over a little earlier here where I had a potential Black Sun strategy, right? So this was at all right. So this setup is beginning somewhere around here at around 12:46, right? So not really a good time to trade. This is kind of in the lunch hour. So hold on one second. Right. So this is in the lunch hour, right? We're getting a nice we have some nice consolidation here, a nice auction. Below this heavy liquidity on the offer, we get a nice push through, we get volume. So let me use the bars. I mean the arrows. We have heavy volume pushing through. We go through the liquidity on the offer. We get this nice push up here, and then there is no more liquidity up here, and we start to exhaust, right? So what I was really looking for is more of a push up to Camarilla R3, not really looking to take a short around this level here, right? Which is Camarilla R2. It's basically it's like the mean area or the center area of the Camarilla pivots, right? This is like it is resistance, but it's resistance within the middle of the Camarilla setup. I'm looking for my Black Sun strategy is basically at the edges of the pivot level setup, right? The Camarilla setup, which is at Camarilla R3 and higher, which is Camarilla R4, right? So this is happening a little too early for me to take this trade. Now I could have taken this trade as a variant of the strategy, right? Because I'm seeing a setup here, but then we have heavy volume going into this. I'm not really that sure that we're not going to get to Camarilla R3. The potential to get to Camarilla R3 after this heavy volume here is kind of high, right? So for me to go short on this breakdown right here of the second upper deviation, it's still seeing some volume coming in, high volume here, right? And then we get some selling, we get high volume on the selling as well. Now we get the retest and we see no follow through, right? So this is when you're starting to see where this trade is materializing, but it's materializing around this area. This could still go back up to Camarilla R3 and stop me out if I start taking sells around this area. Because you see the low buying volume on the offer, that red line right there, that's the best ask or the best offer. So you see they're barely hitting the best offer, right? And they start hitting the bid, right? Which is the green line. The best bid is the green line right there. So you start seeing them hitting the bid, hitting the bid, hitting the bid, and prices bidding lower, right? So the setup is kind of there. It's kind of like a variant of the Black Sun strategy, which is a short at Camarillo R3 and first or second upper deviation on the VWAP. But I passed on this trade because I'm looking at it as with all this buying volume coming in, we're pushing through the offer. I should probably stay out the way and not try and take a short here as yet. So I was looking for this to probably push back up and exhaust again, right? So we had the exhaustion here, auction lower, started to break down. So let's move across and see what happened, right? So we have the breakdown, it's auctioning, starting to move sideways. So all of this is just building more more against the potential buy to the upside, right? Because we're having a retest of like this area here, this breakdown area. It's retesting and still not getting back into this auction area, right? So once the buyers come up here, they're getting exhausted again. They got exhausted here at this level. They broke down, auction, tried to get back in this level, couldn't even get back in this level. And we get the breakdown of first upper deviation, this line right here, right? So the trade setup was kind of there, but within this setup here, all price action is doing is moving into the mean, more into the mean area. This is still the mean area here, right? So I'm not really too keen on taking a short within the mean because anything could happen right here, right? So I just passed on this trade. So this could be like in the future, I could look to build some kind of variance of the strategy because I'm looking to take these more at Camarillo R3. So if they do build up, maybe I could take like smaller positions around this area if I see something like this again and just try it out to see how it works out. But it's not really the strategy, it's just like a variant of it. So I just passed on it, right? So yeah, that was my trades today, which was no trades. I didn't take any trades. These setups didn't work in my favor or they didn't materialize the way I wanted them to, so I passed on these trades, right? So even with this bowling green setup right here, we pushed up, came up to like VWAP, and like I was saying, it'll probably short out around VWAP because we don't really have enough time to really make like a big run, right? So sellers are coming back in here at VWAP, which is this line right here, that yellow line. All right, let me just point that out. That's VWAP. That's the first lower deviation, second lower deviation, the yellow dash line. So the red line is anchored from the ETH open from yesterday, right? The purple line is anchored from the London session, which is at 3 a.m. Eastern time. So they're kind of coinciding right now. Everything has kind of, because price action didn't really go anywhere today. So all the VWAPs are kind of colliding and meshing into one another. So if there was more price action, there would be differences in these bands, like more variance of where these bands are situated, right? It would spread out a little more, right? But since there wasn't really much price action in the way of any direction, all the volume kind of calculated into this area right here. So everything kind of meshes together. So yeah, so that was my trading today. Didn't take any trades, stayed out the market. The setup didn't come in as I wanted it to. As we could see here, this failed up here at 60, let's say 60.96. So at 60.90.50, still a nice little trade, right? Had a retest here. Maybe would potentially stop out here, but the setup wasn't good enough for a bowling green strategy, and it didn't follow through. Let's see, let's open this up. Let's see here. This is 5 minutes before the close. And we have this big sell-off here, this big dump. right? Nice little dump from what is this? The first lower deviation. As it broke there, we got the dump, breaking down Camarilla S3. Iceberg still trying to fight like the selling. They're trying to accumulate at this area. So this is more of like the setup I would be looking for, where it would come down, test Camarilla S3, push back up, right? Come down, test Camarilla S3, build a little auction around here, start pushing back up, and we could take like a buy from around this area and have the stop below here. So let's see, we have about 4 minutes left, 3.5 minutes. So let's see what price action does. All right, so we have that nice little auction building right here, right? So if we get a nice little breakout, well, not at this time, but like during a regular session, if we have a nice push up above this level right here, then you could take the buy. Well, me, not you. You know what I mean? It's not a trade recommendation. This is just my trade setups. And what I'm looking for that heavy volume with no follow through, volume, no follow through, and we're looking for that push back up with volume. So let's see if they're gonna do that now. We have the selling iceberg trying to cap price down below Camarilla S3. So someone is trying to keep price below Camarilla S3 or take profit right here. Right, so something like this here. Let's see, we have the heavy volume. Let's see if we could get like a, well, potentially this would be a nice little buy if we stay above this level. This was looking like exhaustion right here, so it's not good. We have the buying coming in, so it's looking like it's setting up to go back above Camarilla S3. Let's see if it's going to break out. The offer is stacking up, so we have to have aggressive orders, right? They're pulling right now. But again, this is at the close, so this is not a good example of the bull and green strategy to take a buy at this level, because this is it's just gonna whipsaw all over the place, you know. All right, so we have about 30 seconds left in the session. Let's see where it's gonna close. See, you have all the orders here coming in at the end of the session. Right, so we have the big buying coming in here. Let's see if they're gonna take it back up. Still not taking it back up. Right, and there you have the buyers taking it back up at the end of the session. Right, so it's similar to what the strategy would look like the entry, but again, it's at the end of the session. Can't really take this kind of risk right there, right? Because you see what's happening now. All right, y'all. So that was a little rundown of these trades that I didn't take. The setup didn't set up properly, and I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow. All right, y'all. It's Mikael Shalomo. It's MELEK Shalomo Trading. You all trade safe and stay blessed.